the middle, and I'm going to talk about making bunker and why three dads who have no idea how to make a game decided to make, or kind of accidentally made, a S&B game whilst beer. So that's our logo. I hate our logo. I'm going to change it. I never trained to be a developer at all. I was a hairdresser. This is me dressing hair. I used to do makeup. This is me standing around looking bored with models. I got quite bored doing hairdressing, and I thought I want to do something else. I want to spend some time with my kids, and I want to. I'm quite happy learning code because it seemed really interesting. I didn't even have a computer. That just shows you how arrogant that is. So I decided, bored with the industry, I want to spend more time with my kids and also see if I can, like I said, learn code and see if I can go work on movies. So I invented this kind of freelance subscription model for like my clients and work from home, so I can have a limited amount of time, spend more time with my kids. Whilst I'm taking my kids to school, I start meeting other dads in the playground. I meet this guy, Alan. It looks a little bit like we're a progressive couple in an invisible car at the moment. And he's a writer, a director, he's quite an interesting guy, he's funny, and we get along really well. And he says, I'm making this, I've got this idea for this zombie game. It's like a movie, but you play it. And I was like, that sounds cool, I can do the makeup for it. He goes, no, I want you as a zombie. So I spend basically the next 18 months in fancy dress, kind of like roaming around the woods. We use, we shot it all in the woods using an iPhone, which is the worst way to film anything, because you have no control over anything in post-production and stuff like that. So if you want to film anything, don't use an iPhone, use a proper, very nice camera if you can. So this is some screenshots from the hunting. We had no marketing budget at all. Again, me in fancy dress, built an iPhone and went around a zombie walk. This is us outside of the Covent Garden Apple store, which we got asked to leave, which was pretty cool. Scaring people as they came down. Me on the floor going, and then they screamed, go, ah! And we handed them a flyer. And then we saw this massive rise of our trade on that day, so we were like, it does work, it does work. We released it with me tweeting Simon Pegg and just going, I made a zombie game, please buy it, please no. And he didn't. And it did okay for his point. We got along really well, and we decided kind of like, we would like to do this as a job. I would like to do this as a job. And we find that there is a fund. It's called the Big App Fund. It was to find Europe's next big app. And we went along and we pitched, and there was like 480 kind of developers who all know how to make apps. We didn't. We knew a little bit, and said we want to make this we want to make interactive movies, and it will be first person and stuff like that. We call it UV for some awful reason. It's about you in the movie, and we sadly don't win. So this is us at Facebook headquarters. We get down to the final 10, and then they say, they pick other people who've got far better ideas. It doesn't deter us, so we decide to start a production company. We just go, oh no, we do it. Let's keep on going. Let's keep on working. About a month later, they call us back up, and they say, oh, we changed our minds. You do win. And we way. So we had to form a company really quickly, and that was one of our first mistakes. We had to form a company, and we just went really optimistically. We went, oh, let's just share everything. It'll be great, and then we'll get on and everything. This funding partner, they put a valuation on our company and said, this is how much we own, and that's how much money you can have to do this. And gave us some mixed advice. So they weren't from the entertainment sector, they weren't from anything like that. They knew very little about the games market, or anything at all, really. So we made a few mistakes. We were probing around, and we were kind of thinking, what can we do with interactive video? We can't really use this zombie survival kind of game as can't go into kind of some corporate headquarters and say, we're going to make you a training video using interactive video because we can make people look like zombies. So we decide we're going to do a demo, and we speak to a friend of ours, Michael. And I say to Alan, we need to talk to this guy. He's another dad on the playground. We need to talk to him. And he's like, who? I was like, Michael, the guy that's a little bit like Tom Selleck. And we're like, him. Right, yes. Let's go and talk to him. He says, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can help you now. I'm pretty sure I can deal with this. I can make you, why don't we go look at some locations, and we'll go find some place somewhere really interesting and everything. So this is all from one place, but this is the only photos that I have kind of hopefully that are really appropriate. This is in Fort, I'm going to die ever so slightly. This is in Fort Borstal, and it's a Napoleonic fort. And it's all grey and horrible and like dystopian, and we're like, this is great, you can run around and you can give us loads of stuff we can do. And then they take us into these rooms that this guy had made up for the sole purpose of swinging. They had strip club poles, they had like a weird sex dungeon and human bird cages, and we all went, no. This is kind of even less appropriate than kind of, as much as kind of we went, do you know what, there's probably something in there, and we were like, no, can't do it, can't do it. We continue our search and we keep looking around until we find this place. We find a secret nuclear bunker. It's a decommissioned one in Brentwood in Essex. And there are big brown tourist signs, which I still, every time I drive up, it's a secret nuclear bunker, pointing to it there. It's like, what's the secret? It's the very public bunker over here. It was the most fascinating building I've ever been in. It is full of, it's this time capsule of particular types of fear that the government had through the ages. And it had everything from all this post-apocalyptic stationery like toe tags and you're like, it's someone's job to kind of go, oh yeah, we might need about 34 toe tags or and it's just like, oh my god, it's here, teletext machines and stuff like that. So the idea of making a kind of a demo based in this nuclear bunker, it started to evolve in our natural kind of yearning to kind of explore character and narrative and cinema kind of started to come out, and our demo kind of got slightly bigger and bigger and bigger, and I knew one person in the games industry, and I went to him and I said, we've got an idea for a game. It's like a movie and a Telltale game. And I was like, would people buy it? And he went, absolutely yes. And that man's called Paul Sawyer, and I owe him a lot. He is the CEO of Green Man Gaming, and he knows his stuff because he loves to make money. And he said, yes, that would definitely make some money. So we were like, okay, cool. We spoke with his team. I spoke with Gary Rose, and he said to us, we went to, just with a bit of paper like this, I've got an idea, kind of like, here it is, here's my idea. And he said, you can't really get in the build, can you? Because you're not developers, you don't work in that way. I was like, no, I really don't work in that way. He was like, get me a trailer, see if you can get me a trailer. We spent a couple of days in there. We managed, for some reason, to charm this man he was already in the Hobbit trilogy, Alan Brown. He is the nicest guy. He had no idea what he was getting into when we employed him. We made all sorts of awful stuff. He spent a couple of days with us down there. We filmed a trailer and we went, this is kind of what we wanted to look like. It didn't cost us a fortune. We had a little bit of seed money and everything, so we then took it to Gamescom. We went to Cologne. It's my favourite European city. I had so much fun there, and the beer there is far better than anywhere else, and it's all protected, so you don't get hangovers or something like that. We end up getting 3 publishing deals off the back of this, and loads of funding offers and everything, because people really like the concept and like the idea. We were in a very, very cool position that we were able to pick and choose a funding model that would kind of work for us. We still had no idea how to make a game. We still actually didn't know anything, and then we'll just find people to make it into a game. We did film the part, we couldn't do that. So we met these guys. This is Rich and Di, and they run a small studio which is very successful in Wales. They're like the only developers in Wales, I think. and they offer that. They were the cheapest people that we could find because we had very little money, and they said, yeah, we'll do that. And we went, and we'll make a console game as well. I was like, a console game? I thought we were only going to make a PC game, a mobile game. Brilliant. So he said, yeah, we will. Another digression. I think these two look like knockoffs of Notch and William Dafoe. And I don't know if you got agree with me or not. I really do think that they look like that. Yeah. So I've nicknamed him. His name Di, and I think his name's William Dafoe. Yeah. There you go. See if you ever meet. So, on a serious note, they are some of my favourite people, and they're awesome. They're brilliant. We then get into production really, really, really fast, and that was another really big mistake. We had a very, very small window where we had to develop that kind of a crack team. We had very little idea of how game design really worked, so we started to talk to other writers like Stevens, Kevin Phoebus, and Ian Thomas, and talk a little bit more about how we kind of have a slightly more grown-up way of telling the story and everything. So these are some behind-the-scenes bits. I insist now on every single one of our productions that I die in every single one of them. So I die in that one, in one scene. Yeah, it was an awful experience being underground for kind of 4 weeks with bad food, still air, in the middle of winter, and never seen daylight and things. So much so that we were all delirious and unhappy with each other at the end, and it was just bananas and absurd. The crew didn't really understand what we were trying to do, because the crew, when you give them the script and you say, this is what we're going to do, and we do this, and then they go, okay, like that, and you go, but we need to kind of feel you opening a drawer, and then you kind of, and that's it, and you've got to take the key out of the drawer, and then put the key back in, and then all these little bits about, you know, oh, now we've got to refilm that with the light on, you've got to refilm that with the light off again. Because we were making an adventure game, so we had to film all these different elements to it. You couldn't procedurally generate any of it. And we hadn't actually tested that any of it would work. We just assumed, kind of speaking to people, they went, yeah, probably, Unity does a lot of stuff. We didn't test it, it actually worked. So we went and filmed a load of footage we filmed basically 3 films without even knowing if it would all fit together and work and be fun. And that is a massive, massive, massive mistake. And I recommend that no one ever does that, ever. Yeah. But the result was brilliant, because we got a really cool game out, what I think is really cool, and which we managed to release. We did manage to get it to work. It would have been nice to have prototyped a few bits though, so we could refine some of the game design, especially later on. We were convinced that that we didn't want to interfere with the pacing of the story by adding too many extra kind of like bits, and that's not necessarily our thinking now. Yeah, we ended up with quite a good game at the end of it. We then challenged, so I'm going to go back slightly. Before we released the game, we had an incredible amount of hype from the press, enormous. So much so that I started to believe all of this hype, and I thought, I'm going to be a multi-millionaire. I'm going to win everything. It's going to be great. When we released, we got an interview on BBC Click, so we was there. All sorts of stuff. People loved the concept and the idea of the trailers that we made, so I changed all of our sales expectations. I kind of went, oh yes, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and then when we released it, it didn't meet any of those expectations or assumptions, and my whole business plan was thrown out the window in a matter of days. So if you are going to release a game, just really think really hard about kind of like your sales expectations. I now work on the idea of a blended average for my prices. So I planned to sell every single one of my units at $15.99, and then we spend most of our time in sales. So I never sell anything at $15.99, so you cannot plan. So if you do release a game and you are an indie developer and you're doing your sales forecast, I implore, please do a blended average, which is half your retail price. I'm sure that some people will agree with me. We then challenged ourselves to see if we could make a film out of it, and we did. We got it in Cannes. And that's evidence right there of all the films in Cannes. There we are, pointing at our tiny little film. And this is, again, Tom Selleck on the red carpet. That was really cool. So we were able to sell a short film out of it, based on the assets that we had. So if anyone has got loads of assets and loads of kind of, content for their games, think about making a linear version of it, and what would that look like? Because it's one thing. I'm going to kind of quickly summarise some stuff. There is so much more that I would like to talk about, but I kind of can't fit in because you can't. But we went into this project incredibly optimistic, thinking that everything was going to be great and brilliant and wonderful. And that is a double-edged sword. It means that you surround yourself with people who are getting affected by your enthusiasm, but you do need to have a dash of realism. But I'm still incredibly proud of it. We are still, all three of us are still really good friends. We work together full time on kind of, this is our life now. This is what we do. We now know a little bit more about making games, and we still drink loads of beer. And we've been nominated for 17 industry awards. We were able to go to the BAFTAs. I still get to be in fancy dress most of the time. Anyone else who is out there kind of thinking you want to do something different or weird or that's never been done before, just give it a go, because you never know. Thank you.